Hey guys, we'll be getting going in a couple of minutes here. Hey guys, if you don't know me, my name's Maddy. Welcome to BreakOut Studios online in my living room. We'll be getting started here in a couple of minutes, so just grab a yoga mat if you need, some water, a cup of tea, light a candle. We'll be on here in a couple minutes. Hope everyone's having a good night. Get started here in just another minute. right, so let's go ahead and get started with our usual. We're going to lay flat on our back and take a few deep breaths together as a class. So let's get started. So any position that you find comfortable, you can either keep the feet planted to the floor, soles of the feet together, or stretched out nice and long. And we'll just take 3 big deep breaths here, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Together, we go in through the nose and out through the mouth. Again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Last time, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just take a moment here to do a quick body scan from head to toe, noticing if you're holding any tension. Just trying to imagine that your body's melting into the floor. And let's take 3 nice big deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Last time in and out. Good. Let's just take a gentle heel rock. So digging those heels into the ground, we're just going to rock our ankles back and forth to create a slight motion throughout the rest of the body, relaxing even further into the ground. Good. Take a nice big morning stretch for the evening. And rolling over to your side, let's use our upper body to come to a comfortable seat. Good. And let's all go to downward facing dog. Actually, you know what? I did this last time too. Let's start in tabletop and take a few cat-cows. All right? So we're going to start with a nice cat position, thinking of our head and tail, connecting a C curve, and releasing that chest to the ceiling. And cat. And cow. Cat. Cow. Couple more times at your own speed. Good. And when you're ready, let's tuck those toes and push back into a downward facing dog. If you're lucky, maybe a dog will come by. And let's tread those feet out nice and gently at your own pace. For those of you who don't know, this is Marty. Good. And then heels down into the floor, sits bones to the ceiling. Good. Let's take that downstage leg, shoot it up towards the ceiling, and just gently take a couple ankle circles here. Good. And nice and soft. Just let that hip fall open. Again, continuing with those ankle circles in both directions. Good. And straighten. Release back into the ground. And switch. Nice and high with that upstage leg. Gentle ankle circles. Going both directions. And letting that hip fall open. Oh boy. And returning that leg back down to the ground. Let's try it a couple more times here. Good. And shooting that leg up. Ankle circles. Letting it fall open. Rebalancing the leg a couple times. Good. Switch. On Tuesday, it was the cat. Today, it's the dog. And bounce that leg. A few ankle circles. Good. And bring those feet back together. Tread it out. Shooting our downstage leg to the ceiling and bringing it through into a nice lunge. And rocking back and forth here a few times. Good. And when you're ready, we're going to drop this back knee to the ground, untuck the toes, and walk yourself up into a nice upright position in a nice hip flexor stretch. The goal is to reach up nice and long through the crown of the head and only press forward when you need a deeper stretch. For me, about this 90-degree angle is the sweet spot. Should feel it all through the front of this hip. Taking some nice big deep breaths here. And release back down into our lunge. Now, while we're here, let's take a few cat-cows in our lunges. Yeah, loosen up that hip flexor. First, we're going to go cat. Push back, straighten both legs. And come forward. And cat. And come forward. Good. The most convenient of spots to lay down. All right, next we're going to go for our quad stretch. So we're going to drop that back knee, and we're going to reach with our downstage arm, grab our upstage foot, and pull that heel in towards our glute. Good. Don't forget to breathe. Pull it in a little closer if you can. And release back into our lunge. Take a few rocks here. While I go fix our music really quick. There we go. All right, now again, taking those cat-cows in our lunge, just releasing that hip flexor, going into our cat, and cow, cat, cow. Good, returning to our lunge. Rocking back and forth a few times. Checking in, seeing if we're holding any tension. Good. Very good. Next, we're gonna drop that back. Well, actually, we're not gonna do that yet. Next, we're gonna walk up into a nice high lunge. We're gonna bring those hands overhead, intertwine the fingers, pointer fingers go towards the ceiling. Now we're gonna drop that back knee, untuck the toes. Now we're gonna do a C curve with our head and our pelvis, yeah? So nice relationship in between. Oh, we reach that crown of the head for the floor, yeah? So it's not about leaning forward. It's about this C curve we're creating through our spine. Feel a nice stretch through the front of the hip and maybe even into the low back. Taking some deep breaths here. Keep reaching, a nice active stretch. Good, and releasing back down into our lunge. Rocking back and forth. Again, taking some cat-cows. Here we go, cat. And release, high chest cow. And cat. High release cow. Good, returning to our lunge. Back and forth. Next, we're gonna drop that back knee. We're gonna take our upstage leg and knock it to the side onto the blade of your upstage foot. And you might want to walk it out a little bit depending on how tight your hips are. Now here, we can stay in our lizard stretch, or if you feel like you need more of a stretch, go ahead and come to the forearms. Good. You feel a nice stretch coming through this hip. And if you'd like to make it a little bit more challenging, we can go again. We're going to add a quad stretch. So grabbing that upstage leg with your downstage hands, just pulling that heel in towards the glute. Oh no, I made a long eye contact. He thinks it's playtime. Good. Couple more breaths here. Again, if you decided to add the quad stretch, focusing both on that quad and this downstage hip. Good. And release. Walking back up into our lunge, nice and soft. Rocking back and forth. Taking a cat lunge. And a cow. And cat. And cow. Returning to our lunge. Good. Rocking back and forth. Moving into our last stretch of this sequence. We're going to drop that back knee. And we're going to cross our front leg over for a nice pigeon stretch, yeah? So if this 90-degree angle is too much for you, you can always bring that heel closer towards the body, yeah? But for an added stretch, 90-degree angle, heel away from the body is what we're going for. And you can fold over that leg on your forearms or with your chest. Wherever you're feeling for the evening. And again, another added stretch you can do here is by grabbing that quad. Grabbing the foot to stretch the quad. Taking some nice big deep breaths. Relaxing wherever you are. Good, just another moment here. And releasing. Coming back up gently into our lunge. Rocking back and forth. And meeting both of our feet back into a downward facing dog. Good, tread those feet for a moment. Realign those hips. Good. And let's shoot that up stage leg to the sky. Now we'll bring it forward into our lunge to start the series on the other side. So rocking back and forth. Waking up that hip flexor. Engaging through the back of the knee. Good. We're going to drop that knee, untuck those toes, walk up that leg, and lean forward to get a stretch through this hip. Chest is nice and high. Focus is soft. Continue to reach with that chest. Breathing. And releasing back into our lunge. Rocking back and forth. And let's take a cat lunge. Into cow. And cat. Into cow. And back to our lunge. Good. Next is our quad stretch. So we're going to drop that back knee, untuck the toes, and reach for that back foot and pull it in towards our glute. Ooh, I don't know about you guys, but this side is much tighter for me. If your sides don't feel equal, that's totally normal. Taking some nice deep breaths here. No need to hold your breath. Being mindful that we're not locking out in our supporting elbow, but we're keeping a slight bend in it to support our joints. And gently release the foot, returning back to our low lunge. Rocking back and forth. We go into our cat lunge. And cow. And cat. And cow. And return to our normal lunge. All right, next, we're gonna walk up this lunge into a high lunge. Our arms are gonna raise over our head, fingers interlace, point your fingers towards the ceiling. We're gonna drop that back knee, return to our hip flexor stretch, and we're gonna take a C curve with the head and the spine. Again, not about reaching forward, but about pointing that crown of the head towards the floor. Couple more breaths here. And releasing down into our lunge, rocking back and forth, keeping our legs nice and active in between these stretches, going back into our cat lunge, and cow, and cat, and cow, back to regular lunge. Good. Checking in with your body. Are you breathing fully? Are you holding any tension? This is a great class to be honest with yourself. Know where you're at for the day. Next, we're going to drop that back leg, untuck the toes. We're going to knock our upstage knee out of the way, go onto the blade of our foot, and either stay up here for lizard or come down to our forearms. Feel a nice stretch on the outside of that hip and glute. And for an added stretch, you can again grab that foot to stretch the quad. If you did these stretches on the other side, I recommend you do them on this side as well. Make sure you're nice and even. Checking in, seeing if you're holding any tension. Breathing through these stretches is so important. One last breath. And releasing back into our lunge. Rocking back and forth. And going into cat, through cow, cat, through cow, and back to lunge. Almost done with this sequence. Good. Next, we're going to drop that knee, untuck the toes, and cross this front leg over for pigeon stretch. Good. Nice and tall here, or for an added stretch, you can go onto the forearms or even lay all the way down. And same as last time, if you did the quad stretch, go ahead and grab that foot again and hold here. Couple more breaths here. Good, and gently release back in to our lunge. Good, rocking back and forth. And pressing back into our downward facing dog. Tread those feet, even out those hips. Take a little twisting here if you'd like. Good. Now let's send that upstage leg towards the ceiling and just let that hip fall open. See if it feels any different from the beginning of class. Feels any more open, maybe a little bit sore. And switch. Good. And just make your way to a comfortable seat. And we're gonna move on to our backs. So we go on to our backs. Just bring those knees in nice and tight for a squeeze to release any tension in those hip flexors. Maybe rocking side to side a bit. Good. Okay. So next, we're going to take our feet up towards the ceiling. We're going to take our downstage leg, cross it over our upstage leg into a figure 4. And you have either two options. You can either interlace the fingers behind the thigh and pull in towards you, or for an added stretch, you can go around the calf and get a stretch not only through the glute, but the hamstring here. And alternate between those positions. Just trying to get that figure 4 glute stretch. Good. Next, we're going to cross those legs now. So down stage leg over up stage leg. Let them fold. And you're going to flex those feet and pull them in towards you. So just note that we're not just pressing down with those feet, but we're pressing down and pulling forward so we get that stretch through those glutes. This is an easy place to create tension in your shoulders, so just try to relax a bit. One more breath here. Good, keeping the same position. We're just gonna fold it onto the floor here. So we let that bottom leg fall to the floor, and our top leg, we're gonna plant the foot onto the ground and have the knee point towards the ceiling. My upstage arm is grabbing my downstage foot and pulling it towards me. You feel a nice long stretch through the glute right here. One more breath here. Good, and gently release that leg. You can stretch those feet out onto the floor and maybe just bang the legs out a little bit. Good. Draw those legs in again for a nice big hug. And release. We're going to bring those legs to the ceiling. Now we'll switch sides. Our upstage leg crosses over our downstage leg, and we pull in. Good. Next, we're going to shoot both of those legs up towards the ceiling, crossing both and pulling those feet and ankles in towards our body. Couple more breaths here. Relax any tension. Good, and folding this position onto the ground, dropping that bottom leg, and keeping that top leg pointing towards the ceiling. Again, feeling a nice stretch through the outside of that glute. Couple more breaths here. Good. And release that leg. And just bang those backs of those knees against the ground. Releasing any tension that may have built up there. Good. Let's just plant those feet onto the ground really quick and just windshield wiper those knees side to side. Really just let gravity take control here and just fall side to side. Relaxing in those hips. Good. Bringing the soles of the feet to the ground. We're going to let the knees fall open and then push the soles of the feet together for a reverse butterfly. We're just going to take a few breaths here. Try to release any tension in these hips. If it helps, sometimes I like to keep my hands by my hips to create a little bit of a little extra warmth. Or another nice calming position is one hand to the stomach and one hand to the heart. And just taking a few deep breaths here at your own timing. Really releasing into the ground here, feeling those knees pulling downwards. Good. Let's gently press those legs together. Come onto your side and press up using your upper body to a comfortable seat. Now let's go into a regular butterfly here, sitting up nice and tall on our sits bones. We're going to reach that chest forward. Nice and long here. Relaxing into those hips. And taking the stretch over to the left. And walking through center, over to the right. And back center. Rolling up. Let's bring those knees together. Come on top into tabletop. And gently walk those shins and those knees away from you so that we can slide into frog here. Yeah, so first frog that we're going to do is we're going to be reaching our pelvis down to the floor. Some of ours may be a little bit higher. Maybe you need to stay on your hands. That's totally fine. Wherever you're at for the evening is great. And just taking some nice big deep breaths here. Try to not let those ribs splay open, but keep a slight engagement in that abdominal core. Oh, it's getting late. Bedtime's in like 30 minutes. Good. A couple more breaths here. Maybe rocking the pelvis back and forth a little bit to get a little more range of motion here. Good. Now, next frog, we're going to walk forward onto our stomach. And the goal of this one, our hips should be on the ground. Now the goal is to get these heels pressed down onto the floor. Again, some of ours might be higher than others, but the goal is don't sickle those feet and point the toes down, but the toes point up and the heels reach downward towards the floor. Again, this is another one where you can stay here in sort of like a Sphinx pose, or you can just go ahead and fully relax into the ground. Just make sure we keep those hips pressed into the floor and we're reaching those heels downward. Couple more breaths here. Good. Now staying on our stomachs, we're just gonna flip those thighs underneath us, laying down onto one side of our face. Let's just windshield wiper those legs and those feet side to side to relax the front of those hips and the low back. Couple more times here. Good. And laying those legs flat onto the ground. Let's push back into a child's pose. Let those knees open a little bit and just reach that chest down onto the floor. Good, and slowly just roll up through that spine. Awesome work tonight, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Go ahead and check out BreakOut's Facebook and Instagram to see our schedule for the rest of this week, and potentially I think we have the upcoming week posted. If not, stay tuned for that. I'll be here every Tuesday and Thursday night, so come on back and stretch with me. We'll have new material next Tuesday. So thank you so much for watching. BreakOut thanks you, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a great rest of your night. Bye.